Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Indieheads Podcast. I'm your host, Matty, a.k.a. at Monrovian Prince on Twitter. On this week's podcast, we have...
I am Jake, or at jwald55 on Twitter.
I'm AJ, at and Moser on Twitter.com.
I'm Will. It's your boy, Will for Thrill. I'm the newest brand ambassador for Mike's Hard Lemonade. So crack open a cold one while you listen to this.
I love it. I'm Josiah. Josiah on Twitter with some underscores in there, and it's spelled phonetically.
All right, so we're back in this. We actually are doing this at almost actually a week since our last episode, which is a rarity for us now.
Which means it'll be about a month.
Yes.
Until you hear from us again. Probably won't record anything until Pitchfork. If we're just being honest with ourselves.
That's probably going to be the case. We may do one episode before Pitchfork, but like...
Is there anything coming out, like new music, that's good before then?
I mean, like Japanese Breakfast.
But that comes out at Pitchfork.
Streams.
It comes out the day.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like it could be on NPR the week before, in which case we'll have to record an emergency correspondence podcast.
Let's be real.
Right.
If it leaks, I'm listening.
Okay.
Well, it could fucking leak.
Okay, here's the thing. I have as some of you guys know, I work for a public radio station in St. Louis. I work for KDHX as an intern, and
we need to add that to the bingo.
I was literally just going to say that.
Yeah,
we did get it. We did get sent the CD copy, and we also got sent a digital copy. So if I go to my email, I could legit download the album right now if I wanted to, but I'm not going to.
And if you don't send it to us, we will all
don't.
fight you.
Yes, but I'm not going to download it because I think I'd get fired. So I don't want that to happen. But there's another thing.
Well, but you have the code though, so why can't you just download it?
No, well, it's a link, but it's
why can't you download? Why can't you?
Because I don't want to get fired.
But why would you get fired for listening to the album if you got sent it?
Well, it gets sent to. It didn't get sent to my. It didn't get sent to my personal email. It got sent to the music department email.
We'll discuss how we can
anyways,
get it to us later.
Whatever. Before we get into the news, I do have to mention that AJ and I we hedged a bet. I said on Twitter a couple weeks ago that we were talking about Wonder Woman, and he was like,
Matty hates women is the thing.
Okay. I did not expect. So I made a bet that AJ was like, "Oh, Wonder Woman's gonna get good reviews," and I'm like, "No, it's gonna get like below 40 on Rotten Tomatoes." And AJ's like, "No."
Why did you think it was gonna get below 40?
Because it's a DC movie.
All of the DC movies have.
Yeah, it's a DC movie.
Okay, actually, yeah, Cap.
There was very good reason to believe.
Wonder Woman is so good that I forgot that DC is actually bad. And that you're actually there's in sound reason.
Right?
For
yeah,
that.
we need to get in the headspace of like literally a month ago where it was like cancel every single DC movie. Like,
that's
are bad.
That's Wonder Woman's the best DC movie since The Dark Knight.
Wonder Woman.
I'm calling my shot right. With that
Wonder Woman is that shit. It is good.
I think that it's like a pretty by the numbers comic book movie, which makes it better than most Marvel movies.
Okay, it's like a combination of Thor and Captain America.
It was literally a Marvel movie, which is like that makes sense that it gets good reviews,
which makes it the best DC movie.
Okay. This is not okay. This is not important. What is important is
we're just kind of rubbing it in how wrong you were.
Is the bet? So I told AJ that if it does get above 40% on Rotten Tomatoes, that he has the opportunity to roast me for 5 minutes, or really make me do whatever he pleases on the podcast. And AJ, can you reveal what that is? Because I think if I remember correctly, I have it ready to go.
Yep, I've decided to have you read the infamous hentai tweets, and just I want like a straight delivery of the hentai tweet. From who? Fucking like Kurt Eichenwald or whatever the hell it was. Yes. Him and his kids were looking at tentacle porn, and this is what happened. And so I also want this isolated. Just for my own use at whatever point in the purpose these sound bites. So I guess
this
whenever
will be uploaded separately.
Are you sure you don't want to roast him?
No, I'd much rather have this for something. This is the perfect recompense for hating women.
All right, I have the tweets up and ready. I think it's only like 2 tweets, so it should be quick. While hentai parentheses, until now I thought it was called manga, was on screen as part of a search to prove to my wife tentacle porn exists, what diff would it make? Seriously, while I don't see the appeal of cartoon porn, Porn is a multi-billion-dollar industry. People obviously look at it. I think that's it. Unless there's more, but those are the only two they can find.
That will suffice.
So
your debt has been paid.
There we go.
So we still have like 4.5 more minutes.
Yes, that is true. I said I did say 5 minutes.
I mean, I'll just let you own yourself. It's not hard.
Okay. All right. So let's get on with the news then. First and foremost, very important news. LCD Soundsystem, they have finally announced their new album called American Dream. It is coming out September 1st, and also with the album announcement, I don't think there's an album cover, but there is a track list. And yeah, finally this is happening. It's been a long, long journey, but soon it will come. And
I'm just salty that LCD Soundsystem released an album, toured the album, broke up, were broken for 5 years, then reunited, then toured for over a year, and then finally announced a debut album since Brand New's last album. all that has happened since Brand New's last album.
He is correct.
That it is kind of crazy that since let's see when was the concert, the LCD concert?
2012, I think.
Well, no, it was 2011.
2011, I think.
2011, yeah. Okay.
Basically, in the time that LCD Soundsystem has broken up, we have gotten, let's see, 7 Death Grips albums, or really the entire career of Death Grips has happened.
How many King Gizzard albums have we gotten since Brand New's last album?
I think all of them.
Okay, I'm gonna check because I know I was
Young Thugs.
I know probably all of them, but I just want to know how many.
How many Viper albums have we gotten?
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, well, we've gotten 10 King Giz albums in their breakup, and we're gonna probably get. I would not be surprised if we get 11 King Giz albums before this next LCD album comes out. But I mean,
absolute men.
But there's not really much to say other than, hey, I'm excited to see him at Pitchfork. I'm excited for the album.
I saw this band.
Oh yeah, you can talk. Yeah, you can talk about the new tracks that you heard.
I heard two or three of the new songs, and they were really kind of hard to parse out in that live setting, but it definitely sounds like classic LCD Soundsystem. I think both of I've spent a lot of time with the two called the Police and American Dream, and those definitely just even on first impression was just this is LCD Soundsystem. It's like they never went away, because you know what, they didn't really go very far away. It sounds like the band that we all know and love. I think this album's going to be just as good as the rest of their output. I don't it's not a bullshit revival or reunion that they're cashing in on. It's literally just hey, we're making another album. So I don't think there's any kind of lofty.
Well, I mean, they played literally
sound.
I think they're playing every single festival in the world.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's
something of a paycheck in it.
Oh no! I just mean in the sense of LCD's gonna have a new sound or something. It is very much just the band is continuing. It's not a new iteration or anything sort of that.
I mean, this reunion, it definitely doesn't feel like a cash in compared to another band that we might be talking about a bit later on in the episode. Wink, wink.
I actually have no idea. I have no idea what you're talking about.
I feel
a cash-in reunion? No? Okay. Anyway, let's go to the next news piece. Coming up on the next news piece, Panda Bear, he finished a new album. Cool.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, he apparently finished a new album in between. I mean, it's just kind of crazy, because, this has definitely been their most productive time as artists, Animal Collective on an individual level, since, when was the last time that they were this busy with solo projects and
I think
Anko stuff?
2009.
Yeah, pre Merryweather, right around there.
Meeting in the Waters didn't have Panda on it, which is their last EP. I think it was just Geo and Avi. So that's probably
what he was doing. Though, none of the music is good right now.
They did the Paint.
So it doesn't really matter.
I also saw this band.
Meeting in the Waters is actually really good, by the way.
What, AJ? What were you saying?
I also saw this band recently. They didn't do any new stuff or anything, but Panda Bear looks really bored, and so I think he was thinking about this album while he was touring.
Has he ever looked really interested in anything?
I saw them last year. This is like the same tour they toured Painting with. They're touring Painting with because they still are. They're just like going for it with that album. But like they did this like dance remix of Bees, and that was like definitely a highlight of the show. Because the last time I saw them, they played Alvin Rowe, and it's like you're not going to beat seeing that. But like they just I have no idea where their sound is headed because they got like super ambient for this live performance. Not like ambient, but they spaced their songs out a lot. And like, the only way I can describe it really is dance remix-y, which is just strange, but like it works. I don't like dance music all that much, and it's very like just like long. Like all of their songs feel like they were stretched out for this live performance, but it was good. It was cool.
I know. I think Panda said he was influenced by like dub music on the new album. So.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, that definitely makes a lot of sense based on what I heard.
Oh god, everyone's going dub and dance hall now. Even our famous indie acts.
Disco's cool now, baby.
Oh god.
Tell your friends.
It is cool.
You gotta have snaps and claps in all of your songs and whistling and like
Well, speaking of disco. And what might happen with this next artist album, St. Vincent, she just announced a new tour, the Fear the Future tour. A bunch of tour dates all throughout the fall of later this year, and reportedly has a new single out next Friday, or really this Friday now, pretty much, because next Friday is now this Friday. Anyways, I'm excited.
Today is tomorrow, and tomorrow is yesterday.
Shit, well, I'm trying to think of the Laura Palmer quote that's like that. Fuck. Anyways, I'm excited. Of course, I think I can speak for most of us on the podcast in that the self-titled is a really good album, and I'm intrigued about what she does next because I genuinely don't really know what she's gonna do with this album, because she could either go like really pop and just go straight for that sound, or she can take just take a left turn and just do something really weird on us. So I'm excited, but from who she may be working with. It seems like she might go the more mainstream route, which I think she'll do fine. But at the same time, it's like, I trust Annie, but at the same time, it's like, we'll see. I'll have to see how this.
Yeah, I'm already very, very turned off by this rollout so far, where it was like, there are like rumors and like if you dig into like the social media pages and stuff, there's like all this blank space for like updates to be happening, and then like she changed her I think like Twitter profile picture, which is embarrassingly like the sign that a major artistic change is coming. That's the state of indie music these days.
I like the new press photo. I like the new press photo.
I love the picture, but I'm just saying that like that being the like
the indicator.
The foresign, yes, that like new music is coming. It's like there's probably a better way to do that. And then like announcing a tour before we have a single or like any concrete information on this album. I just I would like to hear some of this new St. Vincent music sooner than later. I hope this single does come out on Friday, and I hope Jack and Antoff is nowhere near it.
I have to agree. But we'll talk about Jack Antonoff and his white devilness a bit later on in the episode. So I guess do we go on to the next news item, or is there anything else you guys want to say about St. Vincent?
Ariel Pink announces new dedicated to Bobby Jameson.
Do you not like St. Vincent? Oh, okay.
Okay, but new Ariel Pink. I'm excited once again. Pom Pom was a really good album. I slept on it a little bit when it came out, but like a bit towards like early 2015, I got really into it. And I know our boy Jeremiah is probably excited about this. But
I like the new video, and I like the new cover art, and I'm intrigued by the fact that there's a Damn Funk feature on the album, because they're both artists that can do
Daft Funk on there?
No, Damn
Funk.
Damn Funk.
Oh. That's disappointing.
Close.
Just like the next logical evolution.
I mean the last song they did together was that Baby cover, which is like amazing.
Right. And like they're both artists that can do cheesy throwback pop extremely well.
Yeah, I know exactly what this Ariel Pink album is going to be, and like I'm totally I already exactly know what it's going to sound like, what it's going to do to me, and I'm ready for it. give me this shit.
Right.
I think it's notable also that he's not on 4AD anymore. This is on Mexican Summer. I think that's kind of an interesting shift.
Oh,
it seems.
What the hell else have they done?
Oh, they did Waste Blood. The new Waste Blood album was on Mexican Summer.
I think Conan Marcus, or maybe that was just
that would make sense.
Yeah, because
it might have just been the collaborative thing that he did with Dev Hines that was on there.
Might have been that level. I think it's like the same like series, but
it's not like he's never had like, it seems like he's never not had full control over whatever the hell he wants to do.
Oh yeah,
because it's not like Pom Pom was like a traditional album in any sort of sense.
I just think with the label shift, I don't think there's going to be as much press about this record as there was for Pom Pom.
So I mean, yeah, there already was.
It's going back to a smaller
scale. That's sort of what I meant by like I know what this album is going to be. Is that I'm not expecting anything like as impactful as Pom Pom was maybe in its own ways, because I mean it's not like that record like blew up or anything, but it was definitely a fun one.
Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Yes,
which is our next news item. The
Sound on Sound Festival.
Yes.
That lineup's kind of brazy, if you ask me.
Yeah, because Will posted it on Indieheads, and I was like, oh, this is like I actually would really like to go to this festival if I can.
It's
in Texas. I might have to fuck around and go.
Yeah, because like the lineup is great, but they're headlining first performance in legit performance in 4 years. I think they did like a reunite. They did like a brief reunion at in 2016 at South by Southwest, maybe. But
they never broke up, so I don't know if reunion is the right word.
Basically, just like after their break, I think they went on hiatus, and now the hiatus is over. Pretty much is more safe to say. Coming out of hibernation, really.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to say the words.
But
just pulling up the lineup, I feel like the Frights are probably honored to be right next to Mannequin Pussy.
Which, by the way, shouts out to the Frights again real quick. Go check out our interview that we did with them a year ago. And Richard is a lovely boy. And I love him. And really, the boys are all good.
Boy.
They're all good. But yeah, this lineup is crazy. You got Grizzly Bear, Iggy Pop, The Shins, Blood Orange, Pusha T, Vince Staples, Sleep, Electric Wizard.
Hold on, you have the Holy Trilogy. I don't know how you don't start with the Holy Trinity of Japandroids, Cloud Nothings, and the Hotelier at the same festival.
Okay, it's in tiny font, man. It's in tiny font.
I might bus if I go.
That's busworthy. And then you could make your own mini festival in here that is like literally my taste in music. It's just Japandroids, Cloud Nothings, Hotelier, and then like undercard the Menzingers, Sorority Noise. This lineup fucks. I got to put it out there. I like this lineup quite a bit.
It's
Cherry Glazer, that you like them.
They got Sleep and Electric Wizard, who are like 2 of the 3 quintessential stoner metal bands.
Yeah,
of all time. Basically, if Caius reunited, that'd be like all 3 stoner metal bands.
Definitely.
Okay.
Why are the Yeah so large on this lineup?
Yeah,
they got their own line.
I don't know why Iggy Pop seems like the reasonable.
Well, I think the Yeah, they were one of the biggest alt rock bands of the 2000s.
Right, but they're gonna play Maps, and everyone's gonna go home.
That's. I mean, at the same time, it's not strange to have these weird. Pitchfork last year, that was one. I think those were some of the strangest headliners in recent memory. Because why would you have Beach House and FK Twigs headline a festival?
And none of them had new music to promote, and it was literally just like, hey, here are some sort of legacy acts, I guess. And then I guess it's common knowledge now that the Avalanche is pulled out of the Sunday headlining spot, but
and now they don't get headlining at all.
And now they're just we didn't like that record that much. Fuck you guys. It's a little it was a great festival, but I still the headliners were definitely a sticking point of that lineup being what the hell? Beach House were great, didn't have anything new to promote. Sufjan, thank God he didn't use any planetarium stuff. But It was just odd, yeah. It was strange.
And also
Brian Wilson.
Brian Wilson was great. I had a lot of fun.
Honestly, I didn't. I saw him and I didn't love it.
It was one of the most unforgettable live performances I've ever seen, and like not entirely in a good way.
It's just like he's so old. Oh,
yeah,
so
it's just like he's like so not the guy.
But still, it was
he's
like
so not the guy that made Pet Sounds.
That is true.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was still just like, I'm actually watching. Like I'm watching this
Yeah.
and I'm hearing this. Like this is actually happening. It was more of just like maybe the performance was like he was the weakest aspect of that.
What's
set.
what was the name of the guy?
I'm trying to remember that guy's name too. Yeah, like the
what's his name? His son was the one who sang most of the high stuff and sounded pretty.
and he was fantastic. Yeah,
Yeah, he was great.
Yeah, I'm blanking on the name too.
It's like Al Jardine's son, maybe.
Yeah, that's exactly who it is. Al Jardine, his son,
is really
he came
pulling
through
the
with
weight.
the pipes.
Absolutely.
It's definitely bizarre,
And, like,
like
Brian
seeing how Brian Wilson's voice has just been completely shredded over the years.
He would like intro every song by being like, "This song's about like a girls," and then
My favorite was when he would do like the instrumental songs. It's like this song has no words. Like, that was like the biggest novelty in the world.
But actually, hold on. Okay, speaking of festivals, can we talk I didn't put this in the news, but I want to talk very briefly because it's a very nut-worthy festival lineup of Audio Tree Music Festival.
Ooh, yes.
Legit,
in our own
in Michigan, which Josiah, I'm gonna we might have to go to this together. I'm legit.
Good old Kalamazoo.
Wait, I
It's
straight up have not seen this.
Okay, so the headliners King Gizzard and Wizard.
Oh.
We got Pine Grove in there.
Twin Peaks.
We got there.
We got
oh shit, wait, I actually am going to be in Michigan that weekend. Maybe this is gonna happen.
Hoops. We got Bad Not Good. We got Sales, I already said Pine Grove.
Look, it's 2017. You put Pine Grove somewhere, and I'm coming. That's basically how.
And also,
go
ahead.
And there's still a special guest headliner and more acts to be announced. So, and the tickets are only like $65 for 2 days. I think this might be the weekend that I'm coming home. I'm not sure yet, but if it's not, I need to go to this. Like, this is a great. Like, I want to see because this might be the only chance I get to see King Giz live, unless they announce a Chicago date sometime later in the fall. But yeah, this is a crazy.
I need to buy my ticket for them in Dallas.
Because... Yeah, for a cheap fest, this is a pretty good lineup.
Oh yeah, 2 day pass is like $60 on this thing. So I'm probably buying it.
I straight up paid double for Arcade Fire, so it's worth it.
So okay, but yeah. Anyways, I guess our next.
I'm actually going to be in San Francisco the weekend of Outside Lands, so I might have smack on that one.
All right, and I guess our last. Do we want to talk about this? Is it really? Do we just want to get to what we've been listening to?
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna get to what we've been listening to. That was the last news.
Well, hold on. We do have some big news that we just skipped over.
Wait, what? Okay.
You ignored the biggest news story of the week.
Oh God.
The revolution in how they changed publisher.
How they changed what? Hold on.
Arcade Fire announced that they're.
Oh, wait. Can you say that one more time, AJ? Because you're lagging there.
Oh, that Arcade Fire changed music distribution and is releasing their new album on Fidget Spinner.
That's AJ having audio problems. Mark that down on your bingo card.
Yeah.
So, you mentioned bingo card. Mark that down on your bingo card.
Look, all I gotta say about this is that capitalism is good. It's good as hell, my dudes. I love capitalism. People in the Indieheads thread were like freaking out about this, like, "Oh God, they're getting so like their publicity, like, oh, this I hate the publicity for this album."
And then like that one guy said, like you said, I love capitalism, and this one guy's like this, but unironically, then got downvoted like 20 times.
Look,
no way.
As a resident defender of both capitalism and Arcade Fire till the day I die, I really don't understand like what is so bad about this album rollout that people are just like.
The capitalism part is just like it's so cringy. Them trying so hard to be so relevant.
It's really not though. Like I just don't like. They're not. It's not super serious. I think like Father John Misty's rollout was way worse than this. My like. I don't think they've like done anything like the Twitter takeover. Like they're pretending that their Twitter was taken over by like a corporation or something. But like it's not like the music is like, yo, capitalism fucking sucks, man.
Yeah, I don't mind the music itself, but the rollout is just like very on the nose, and I think that's what's bothering people.
I don't think there's any, I mean, with like what's going on politically right now, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If anything, like, we kind of need that. Just someone to be blunt about some of this stuff. And also the official,
I think it's
the official video for Creature Comfort is fucking hilarious.
Oh, I love that video so much.
As someone who used to watch VH1 and MTV like for hours on end, that was like perfect. Like, oh, this is perfect. I love this.
But like that really turned people off too. They were like, "This is the worst thing that has ever happened in indie music." I'm like, well, you know, it's very clearly a joke. Like, I know that they mean it. The whole like anti-capitalist sentiments.
The thing is, they're like the biggest beneficiaries of capitalism in the whole wide world.
Well, I guess it's not even like it's not even anti-capitalism. It's like anti-materialism. Essentially,
there's a difference between those two things.
People are just like people are too very quick to just be like, whoa, people are expressing like anti-materialistic sentiments, like boom, down with capitalism. That's so cringy. And it's like you made a pretty big logical leap there. I think people should ease off on Arcade Fire, at least until the album comes out. Then you can start dunking on them. But this rollout isn't as bad as some people.
AJ, did you see that they're giving out free copies of the album with the concert tickets?
Yeah, they're like mailing you the CD for free. I mean, capitalism's all right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the tickets were $120 fucking. So
yeah, I paid $150.
CD is nice. Yeah.
So yeah, I better get the vinyl too.
I think you can like pay extra for the. I think like you can get the CD, which was like $10. You can get the vinyl for like.
But the vinyl was free. No, the CD was free though.
The CD's free.
A concert ticket, they give you like.
But I think like they're saying that you can, if you want the vinyl, you just pay like $10 more. Like it's half off essentially. So
okay. That's what happened when I probably bought Fleet Foxes ticket. Like they just kept pushing the vinyl on me a bunch of times. Like, no, I'm paying $50 for this concert. I don't want to buy the vinyl.
LCD Soundsystem's giving out their album too. If you bought for their fall tour, and the National also are like sending CDs.
Real shit.
I guess they're all these record labels are just trying to get rid of as many CDs as they possibly can because who the fuck buys a CD anymore? So they're like,
does this count towards their sales numbers?
So occasionally,
I was reading that I also occasionally buy CDs. I was reading that yes, it does. It would boost. Well, because this is what people are using to shit on Arcade Fire. It was like, hey, Arcade Fire is giving out free CDs with their ticket sales or whatever, and people were just like, oh, well, of course they only want a number one record because like that's literally all this band cares about, and this would totally just boost their sales numbers. Like, you know, slow your roll, buddy.
Free CD's a free CD.
Yeah, they might be good people at heart. I don't know. You know. Sure, they've gotten a 9.3 on Pitchfork.com, but they could be good people. Who knows?
Anyways, let's get to what we've been listening to this week. And I'll start off. I've been listening to the King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard album a bunch this week because I got an early CD copy from my college radio station, and I'm fucking loving this album.
Ding, ding, ding!
What?
We just hit some bingo there.
Oh yeah, I mean, I already mentioned my college station. We already mentioned radio station.
We just keep fucking banging on it.
We just keep hitting those fucking number ones, baby.
Smack that bingo button.
We can't lose.
Anyways, this new King Giz album, I am loving the shit out of this album. It's basically Nonagon Infinity 2.0, and that's completely fine with me. I think it works, except for I have reservations about it, but the positives, God, it just fucking goes. Like, the perfect place to listen to this album is in your fucking car. Just get in this car, get on a highway, and just fucking speed through while this album goes. Just, God, the Alter Beast part is great. It's basically like 3 songs, pretty much. Like, the album is split up into 3 chapters, and it's basically just 3 songs, because all the songs, they all, like, for these, like, 3 chapters, all the songs just go in right into each other, and they're variation. Like, the first, like, chapter is basically just, like, variations of, like, of the same song, pretty much, of the Alter Beast song. And then, of course, going back, alternating from Altered Beast to Alter Me, Alter Beast, Alter Me. And that's really fun. The Lord of Lightning versus Balrog is fucking amazing, especially the title, or the partial title track for Lord of Lightning, which, like, it starts off like, okay, this is kind of epic and cool, and then once it kicks in, and it gets to that Nonagon, 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 you're like, what the fuck is happening? And it's amazing. The third chapter, which is like High Tuumi and the Universe, I don't know if I'm getting that correct. That's where the album kind of falters a little bit for me, because that's where it gets because it's only like 2 actual songs, and then there's like the rest is like spoken word robot shit, which is fine, but not as like good and epic as the first 2 chapters. But generally, I'd highly recommend this. It's pretty high up there in my top list of the year so far. I put a little bit above Flying Microtonal Banana. I think I like it a bit more than that album.
I'm a microtonal guy.
That's understandable.
I haven't listened to any of their 2017 stuff.
2 weeks.
I know that like Matty and I prefer Murder of the Universe to Microtonal, but I'm actually curious, what do you prefer about Microtonal, Will?
Well, I'll say what I don't prefer. Like I said, just 3 songs and like just a lot of spoken word and stuff. That just didn't really appeal to me. It felt like it's just like a bass line underneath some words that I don't care about. But I kind of like the slower, groove-oriented aspect of Microtonal Banana, and also that it's I think the microtones work well. It's kind of eerie and cool. So yeah.
I do like it. Like I like the Middle Eastern music influences on there. Really interesting. It's much more psyche. Yeah. It's definitely not. There's some balls to the wall songs on there, but generally it's a bit more. It's more psyche than Nonagon Infinity.
I think it's more dynamic, but I almost like King Gizzard when they're more coherent, and I know Will feels like the opposite, but
yeah, I feel like they're too coherent to a fault sometimes.
Well, if you don't really like this one, you got like 3 more on the way this year, so
yeah, that's exactly the point. I think like everyone on here will like at least one of the albums.
Mm-hmm. So that's all I gotta say. Will, you want to talk about? Actually, Colin, can we go to Josiah first, real quick, and then we'll go to Will?
Yeah, fine.
So Josiah, you're up.
Yeah, sure. I've been listening to a classic shoegaze record, Souvlaki by Slowdive, because I went down to the local record store the other day and it dropped like $42 or $41 on a pressing of, I think it was done by like Music on Vinyl, which is a UK-based vinyl. They're kind of similar to Mobile Fidelity, where they like re-release albums and put a lot of work into the sound quality of them. So I've just been getting more into shoegaze lately, and obviously that's one of the more essential ones. So it's been really pleasing to listen to that, and just like the whole wall of sound and kind of getting enveloped in the effects has been nice for me lately.
Slowdive is a good band.
I
hear first.
The album itself, I don't have a lot to say about because, like, we all know it's essential.
Do you like the new one?
The new one, not as much as Souvlaki, obviously. I think, like, that one and Pygmalion, I think it's pronounced. I like them both, but like obviously not as much as Souvlaki, and I haven't really digged into Just for a Day that much, but I very much like Slowdive.
I like the new one a lot.
The new one is really good. I feel like that album, like
that's my favorite.
It didn't come and go or anything, but like it doesn't. I don't see it getting enough credit right now as being like one of the best albums of the year.
I think it's really, really good. I just think it's impossible to top Souvlaki.
Well, yeah, but like for a 22-year hiatus to come back with this record from this year is pretty fucking nuts, if you ask me.
Right? Yeah, it's very dream poppy, the new one. Like more so, like Pygmalion kind of was, but that's
Pygmalion. That's like often that's one of the most boring albums I've ever heard.
They very clearly make the case for being like the shoegaze band. Like if ever there was a band if ever there was a genre that was one band more than shoegaze is to Slowdive, I have not seen it.
My Bloody Valentine exists. You idiot.
Yeah, but. That album is different.
I'm a bigger My Bloody Valentine guy than Slowdive.
I like them.
TBQH.
I think I would meet you in the pit on this argument.
I think that shoegaze is a good genre, and that's what I have to say.
Maybe what I mean is I don't know if I would go that far. I don't think shoegaze is a good genre, but I think like
overall.
I think
maybe not. I think that there are very good albums within the genre.
Yes, that.
It's a genre I like in theory a lot more than in practice.
Yes, exactly. It's a genre that they're.
Like like super duper effect. It's like that's awesome. But it's not.
When it's executed well, it's really good, and when it's not, it's just not.
The thing is, it's not bad when it's not executed well. It's just super duper boring
and super derivative.
Yeah,
true.
I wish more bands. The thing is, I actually wish more bands were derivative of My Bloody Valentine. I think too many are derivative of Slowdive.
That's a good point, and that's sort of what I was getting at too. Is that like there is shoegaze as a genre, and then there is Slowdive ripoffs, and
I think
there's a lot more of the latter than the former.
Yeah, I also agree with Will. I think that shoegaze would benefit more from a kind of punkier influence that I hear more on Loveless.
One of the like not only, but like one of the best in the modern, like very clearly trying to do something new with shoegaze bands is Pink Shiny Ultra Blast. I really like them. They're really good.
Yeah. I'm horribly like I have horrible info about shoegaze. I do like the new Slowdive album though, and I probably need to dig a bit more into dream pop and shoegaze outside of that album and Beach House, pretty much. Although I did listen to Loveless like once, and I liked it. That's all I gotta say.
That's so embarrassing that you're the host of this podcast.
Okay, we all have our blind spots, Will. Okay?
We do, but that's a really big one.
It is a big one, but
I mean,
my friend who's really into shoegaze just recommended me this EP called Stargazer by Stella Luna from like 2002, and it's like pretty under the radar, but it's the only thing they ever released. And he's like really big into shoegaze and thinks it's absolutely essential. So I would say that like anyone looking to get deeper into shoegaze should check that out.
Regarding the Loveless comment, are we sure that we've never made Jeremiah listen to Neutral Milk Hotel yet? Because I think that's still an outlier.
He listened to In the Airplane Over the Sea like a year and a half ago, and then wouldn't tell us anything about it because he was like, "Just shut up, guys! I'm just feeling weird." And then like it's barely addressed. Anyways,
I think he still thinks that that's like the Pleb album, and On Avery Island is the Patrician album.
I mean, he wouldn't be.
They're both pretty patrician.
Yeah. All right, Will, you're up to bat.
I want to go last now.
Okay, yeah, because
Will should go last because he's got like a relatively main topic album.
Yeah. Jake, you're up to bat, buddy.
Yeah. So I just kind of thought of this last minute, but Queens of the Stone Age's album Lullabies to Paralyze, which I've been listening to a lot of Queens of the Stone Age lately. Basically, just kind of been getting into a Queens of the Stone Age kick because of the new single, The Way You Used to Do, which is actually really great. But yeah, this is one of the Queens of the Stone Age albums that I've probably listened to the least. It's kind of overshadowed at this point by Songs for the Deaf, which came out a couple years before it. But it's still a really solid album. Like, I don't think Queens of the Stone Age have ever really released a poor album, and I'd say it's maybe a little bit more vanilla than a lot of the other Queens of the Stone Age albums. Definitely a bit more.
I don't agree with that.
I actually think this is the only one of their albums I've never listened to.
I don't think it's still definitely got like dark Queens of the Stone Age undertones. It's not like when I say what it is, radio, I mean like by their standards.
It has really awful
I'd say that Songs for the Deaf is their radio, or actually no, Like Clockwork is definitely their radio album.
No, it's Songs for the Deaf, or maybe even Era Vulgaris or whatever. I mean,
Era Vulgaris is weird.
Whichever one has
I'm not a big Era Vulgaris guy.
Threes and Sevens, I think, was like their biggest song. Is that fair to say?
It was like it was on. Well, besides No One Knows.
Besides No One Knows, yeah.
Yeah, I think Threes and Sevens was on like Guitar Hero and stuff like that. But
this song is thick though. Lullabies to Paralyze.
What song?
It's thick.
Okay. I don't know what the fuck that means. This album's thick? There's no song called Lullabies to Paralyze.
No, actually, Lullabies to Paralyze is a lyric on the last song of Songs for the Deaf, which is interesting. I don't know if that ties them together in any way or anything like that. But yeah, I'd still, worth listening to, I'd say. Like I said, I don't have a whole lot to say about it, but good stuff. And Tangled Up in Plaid is probably one of the most underrated. That's the most underrated Queens of the Stone Age song. Yeah, I love that song.
Okay, yeah, high five. That's exact. We're on the exact same wavelength on that one. Little Sisters also.
Oh yeah, when I say like
That's a
when I say radio rock,
banger.
I mean like in a good way. You know, like Little Sister is like
Medication freaking rules.
Yeah, no, it's great.
I Never Came.
That's why I'm so excited
awesome.
for this new Queens of the Stone Age.
I relate to all of those.
People keep saying like, "Oh, Mark Ronson, like the way he used to do, it's just going to be like a radio pop album." And I'm like, great. Every Queens of the Stone Age song that's tried to do that has been like fucking excellent. I would very much welcome a Queens of the Stone Age album like that.
Yeah, I'm curious to see where this album goes.
I'm a little worried.
I'm definitely a little worried. That's why
I feel like I like the new single way more than anyone else I've heard. I don't know why, but I'm not gonna.
It's one of the better singles in recent memory, but that's not good enough for Queens of the Stone Age.
Yeah, well, I
think
coming off of Like Clockwork, it's almost one of the only I could see them going, because if they can't do that again and make it as good as Like Clockwork,
I mean, totally.
Do a 180.
I would have liked to see them try. I think maybe more than the direction it seems that they're headed. The way that you used to do actually is the direction I would have hoped that the Killers would have gone in instead of wherever they're going.
I think they should have gone like heavier.
I would have loved to hear the Killers go a little heavier rather than
I love the Man. I don't care. I love the Man a lot. I think it's I have the perspective of alt radio.
Yeah, it was
radio, and for that it's stellar. It's a very good song.
It was just a very weird like 24 hours where it was like, oh, new Killers and new Queens of the Stone Age, and then it was just like, yo, I hope you like fucking disco, and it was,
that was a weird 24 hours.
That was a very straight, and like I also think the Arcade Fire single was officially released in there, and it was just like
Comfort is like, God,
it was like there's a lot of fucking disco.
It's like that's like 3 of my top 4 bands.
Yeah, and they're all just dropping disco.
God damn it.
I'm gonna need a goddamn second. 2017, I'm here to let things happen, but like I'm gonna need to take my time with some of this stuff. We'll see what happens on this new Queens of the Stone Age album. I haven't bought tickets to see them because I would like to hear the album first before I.
Dude, it's Queens of the Stone Age. Like,
it's
fucking
Queens.
rule. You gotta go.
I feel like. I think it's the cover art is just telling me that like there is reasons to be trepidatious about this album.
See, I like the cover art too. I don't know why.
No, I don't like the cover art at all. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I know. I've heard a lot of I've heard a lot of criticisms about it, but I don't mind it. I think it fits them, especially like the song. I don't know. I don't mind it.
All right, AJ, you ready to hate on some more shit? Apparently.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is probably the biggest release this week here. I saw Twitter and the subreddits going just buck wild over this new Vince Staples album. It is an album, right? Like officially,
it's an album. Big Fish Theory.
Vince Staples' Big Fish Theory. So a lot of people going crazy over it, comparing it to Yeezus, to Pimp a Butterfly, all of basically like like any album that gets released these days, compared to like literally every big album that is released in the past 5 years. But it's not good. It's not good almost at all. Really, really not a big fan. And the thing is, I really want to talk about Big Fish Theory like less than I want to talk about Vince Staples, because Vince Staples is, in my opinion, one of the best characters, voices, creators in hip hop right now. And the thing that's so interesting about that is I do not think he has made a cohesive project since Hell Can Wait, which was like 23 minutes, but every other thing he's put out I have had a huge problem with that has like basically turned me off from listening to it outside of like the initial release period. Like, so Summertime 06, I think the first half disc, whatever you want to call it, I think that release on its own would have been like a classic, but you can't ignore that like they released it as a double album with that second half that is just atrociously filler and bloats that thing up to an hour, and would have been the like perfect rap debut that it is in some places acclaimed as, which I just can't understand. Prima Donna, I bounced off hard. I just think his lyrics on that album were way too like, I am a real rapper who raps about like real issues and doesn't make like trap songs, which is a very antiquated position to have in modern hip hop. And I was just like, nope, I'm not here for any of that. And then on Big Fish Theory, he turns in the album he was making fun of on Prima Donna. I'm not really sure what the like club banger vibe he's going for on Big Fish Theory. Serving the bass, and it's just like
I want to call this club bangers exactly.
No, it's IDM shit. Vince Staples basically made an IDM rap album, and unlike AJ, I love this.
No, but like you put a little distortion over like the beats, and then get like a little bit sparse in there, and people just go, "Yo, IDM, Jesus, it's experimental." And it's like, I'm not.
Okay, I'm not like that. It's definitely here's the thing. People are like, I'm surprised people are shocked that this album is. It's like he was teasing this on Prima Donna, like literally the James Blake songs, especially Big Time. It's like he's been teasing this sound for at least 2 years now. But with the remixes he's done or the features he's done over the years, it's like he's been teasing doing an album like this for a bit now. And I'm glad we finally got it.
I don't inherently have a problem with like that style of music, but Big Fish Theory as it is, just like the music itself, whenever it's not Vince like rapping over a hard beat, define that as you will, but just like, what we would consider typical rap music, all of the weird like spacey instrumentals and too many female vocal guest features, which like, I don't have a problem with female guest vocals inherently. You just want to throw that out there. But on this album, they are not served well, and it wastes so much time, and it falls into all of the trappings that these Vince Staples albums have. And like, I know it quickly became a meme that like Vince Staples picks bad beats, and I'm not saying he picks bad beats, but
he picks incredible beats.
Yes, like I don't know why these albums can't just like come together cohesively, but I think it's messy, it's sloppy, it's all over the place, and just like fails to connect in almost every meaningful way.
So I was disappointed by this album too. And I was actually excited for it because I think Bag Back is a banger.
Yeah, like
I think that Big Fish is a pretty good song too.
Bag Back and 745 I think are like the two standout tracks on this album. The Kendrick verse is fine. It's a big proclamation of that. You can tell when Kendrick is when he cares about like the album he's doing a guest feature on or the song he's doing a verse on, compared to when he doesn't, because like Kendrick actually shows up and is creative on this, where like some of his other poppy features, it's just like that could have been anyone. That did not need to be Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah,
I see something that I saw like on Hip Hop Heads that like finally after like 2 years like, described how I feel about Vince Staples, that he raps under the beat instead of over it.
Yeah, I definitely feel that here.
I mean, like he picks incredible production a lot of the time. I think like he has the hottest production in the game.
Sure, on their own, yeah. Vince Staples does not pick bad beats. The beats,
no,
Vince
they're good.
They're
good. Some of the best in the rap game, but he doesn't serve them at all.
Yes, what he does with them is disappointing, and I think like that's the problem that I have like with, and like I said, I love Vince Staples like as an artist. I think his presentation is super unique, and his lyrics are like prima donna outstanding, very on the point and like focused. They tend to be, but like something about the way his projects come together outside of Hell Can Wait, which was like like short, punchy, rapid fire, just like in and out, banger after banger. These projects like have done nothing for me.
Okay, I guess to bring my opinion to the front, I have to disagree somewhat, because I didn't think Vince for me did not really come into his own until really Summertime 06, that first disc. Which that first disc, if it was just the album was just that, it would have been fucking great and would have been like one of the best like rap debuts ever. Like I do stand by that. But yeah, as you said, that second disc, like a solid half of that second disc is filler. And the songs
more than that.
like more than half, and even the songs there I like. It's just like the album ended perfectly, like with the This Could Be Forever song. Like that would have been a perfect outro, like that would have been great. But and then Prima Donna was kind of iffy, but I did really like Big Time a lot, and I really liked the other James Blake produced track, and the one featuring A$AP Rocky was also pretty decent. But I do like Big Fish Theory a lot. I think my opinion might diminish on it as time goes on. But I will say I think this is the album that I've been wanting Vince Staples to make since really Summertime 06, and that I'm glad he went full on IDM. Like, hey, awesome! He's been teasing it forever. Glad he just finally made the jump. There's some great songs in here. I unlike you, I do like some of the female features. I think some features are kind of like, wasn't necessary. But I do love Kilo Keish's. I do love Kilo Keish on Love Can Be. And I do really like the Ray J part in Love Can Be is also really good too. And also the beat is fantastic, and Damon Albarn did like the keys on it and also his vocals on it, which is like, wait, what? Which is not super surprising. And then Yeah Right, obviously it's a fucking banger, and I really like Party People, and the singles are really good. And
the hook on Yeah Right annoys me. I can't get over the hook on that, unfortunately.
It's an overrated song,
but it's a little too braggadocious for my my refined taste.
Okay, but at the same time, it's kind of awesome that Vince Staples got Flume and Sophie to produce a song on the same album for like a mainstream hip hop album. Hopefully, the first of many. But I don't know. I really like it. But I do get your criticisms though. Like I do get it. That I think I still have to agree that Summertime '06, the first disc, is still like the best thing he's ever done. But when it comes to like a full project, I think this is the best. I think this might be his best work yet. Or at least the best songs on here are or some of the best things that I've heard from him. But
I mean, I was blown away by Hell Can Wait, and then I am blown away by the potential on Hell Can Wait, and I'm still waiting for him to live up to it, essentially, which is disappointing.
Yeah, there's certain things that surprise me that Vince did, but he's such an interesting personality in interviews, and it doesn't quite come off in his music. Which is fascinating, is that he's such an interesting guy, and he's so fucking funny. But that doesn't really quite come off in his music. And
still is the GOAT pitchfork over under.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
that's the undisputed GOAT.
But I think I've said all I can say. Let's get into it. Unless if you want to talk
let's quit being melodramatic.
Because I'm a bad girl who knows what she wants, I'm going to talk about 2 albums. The first album is going to be Fearless by Taylor Swift. So for some reason, because of her feud with Katy Perry, she finally put all her music on Spotify and every other streaming service the same night that Katy Perry released her fantastic senior album, Witness.
Is this the least transparent move in pop music, like beefs ever? Has there ever?
The thing is, like, I don't remember why. Something to do with like background dancers or something.
No. I mean, Taylor putting all of her stuff back.
Oh yeah, it is, but I don't care though, because like I want her music on streaming, like on Spotify, and now we have it. So
right, but
cool.
What could have possibly convinced Taylor Swift to backpedal on her, like staunch conservatism about traditional music and artistry? What could have possibly? It's almost that
she had no convictions to start with.
Yeah.
Anyways,
but Fearless goes.
I started listening to it because Love Song is my jam, and actually I don't think I've ever gone through the album all the way through, but the title track Fearless is my fucking jam. Love Story is awesome. You Belong to Me, good songs. If you've ever been heartbroken, I think this is gonna be your antidote.
And now let's get to the pre-main event. The pre-main event for the main topic.
So yeah, the prelim. So the other album is the undisputed, no question about it, pop album of the year.
No.
Melodrama by Lorde.
How can you say that? How can you let those words roll off your tongue, knowing that Carly Rae Jepsen is currently cultivating her next masterpiece for release? How can you allow those words to emerge from your snake teeth? How can you possibly utter that?
Maybe Carly needs some competition.
Okay. Well,
this isn't it.
She has to be hungry.
All right. Well, talk your shit, because I got my shit I want to talk, because we both have
talk my shit.
We have
this goddamn album is so good. Okay, like I'll say Rider in the Dark is not my favorite track. It's probably my least. In fact, it's my least favorite track. But every other song here, Green Light, I warmed up to that song so hard, it's not even funny. Like,
yeah, I have to admit, I
will agree.
Okay, the intro is a little bit. It's a little bit rough, but once it gets that piano comes in, I mean, it's perfect. It's perfection, pop perfection. Then it's Sober. The way she samples her vocals throughout it, it's so good. Homemade Dynamite is so good. It's like, I mean, like that's not very constructive, but just every song, it's like, oh my god, this is so good. Like, earlier we're talking shit about Jack Antonoff.
Yes.
about how bad he is.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree that he does suck. Except that he doesn't. Because this album is goddamn amazing. She did that shit.
I remember we talked briefly about this on the last podcast, and we were pretty not hot on it, especially because of Jack Antoff. And I know I'm pronouncing that wrong.
Jack Antoff. I've had some time to wait for
He went to prom with Scarlett Johansson. You put some respect on his name.
Oh, man.
All right.
Here's the thing. I was like very negative on his production last time, and I revisited it.
What do you mean by last time? On Melodrama?
Like last podcast. Okay. I was pretty critical, but that was after I did say that was after a first listen. I revisited a couple times, and I think it's more dynamic than I gave it credit for, and Greenlight into Sober is a very good 1-2 punch, but I just I think it's good. I can't say it's my pop album of the year. Just I just can't commit to it that much.
I get not loving it, but to hate it like Matty is, just slander it just because.
I don't hate it. Let me make it very clear that I don't hate this album. I want to make that very clear.
You slandered every single song on Twitter.
Okay, well I haven't not every song. Okay, let me just get into it. All right, so Greenlight, as I agree, once it gets into it, it's great. I love it. It grew on me. Sober, I actually really like Sober. I think Sober is a really cool song, and as you said,
that's an amazing song.
It's a good song. But after that, the rest of the album I just cannot get into. Homemade Dynamite.
Let's think the exact. I love Homemade Dynamite.
Okay, Will, let me talk. Let me speak. All right, because I'm gonna let you guys.
Such a good song.
Okay, I don't like Homemade Dynamite because here's the thing: when I'm listening to Homemade Dynamite, I feel like I'm listening, I'm visualizing in my head Lorde feeling super out of place in a bad '90s girl group music video. That's what I imagine when listening to.
What's wrong with that? That sounds like it.
She sounds out.
You hit the nail on the head, and that's awesome.
Okay, let me just go.
It hasn't really been a great year for pop music, has? I was just thinking about what could possibly be any other contender for pop album of the year, and I was like, the Katy Perry album, which no. So, is there? I mean,
our boy Ed Sheeran?
No,
the Chainsmokers.
Again, no.
Okay.
Our girl Halsey got the first #1 album of the year for a female artist. Out to her.
Oh God.
What was that? Damn.
Sorry.
Someone is not okay with that take.
That was the perfect.
That's not a take. That's a fact that she's the first female artist to get a #1 album.
Stop it! Stop saying that.
Stop. Okay. Let me talk about my overall feelings on this album. Not just getting just on an overall. So my first initial reaction was, "God damn it, Jack Antonoff, you piece of shit! You ruined Lorde! How dare you!" But now that I've given it a few more listens, I can say that it's his production is not the worst thing. I think if anything, it kind of is. It kind of isn't. I have a lot of issues with the album because I just feel like it's such a step down in every way to Pure Heroin, in my opinion. It just Lorde's vocals. Okay, let me just speak. Let me articulate. I think she's trying a lot of new things on this record. She's doing some new things to her voice, and some of these new things don't always pan out, and they kind of bring in some of these performances are just are kind of iffy to me at times.
Name a specific vocal performance that was iffy.
Well, Homemade Dynamite, as I already mentioned, I was really iffy on. I kind of
wrong.
Shut up. I'm a little iffy on.
Leans into Mike. Wrong.
I'm wrong. I mean, just overall, pretty much after Greenlight and Sober, I'm pretty iffy on almost all the vocal performances in some shape or form. Some are fine.
What about Perfect Places?
I don't like Perfect Places. I like Liability though. I forgot to mention that. I do like Liability.
That's a good song.
Liability's great, and I'm not crazy about Perfect Places either. I feel like.
Perfect Places is so good.
I agree with almost all of Matty's takes, but just to a lesser degree, where it's not I hate it. I'm just
I told you
I'm
guys.
Not crazy about it.
I told you guys. I don't hate it. I'm just so completely in down the middle with this album.
since I brought shoegaze into the conversation earlier, I'm sad that Hard Feelings / Loveless is not a straight up shoegaze track.
We were all.
It's better than a shoegaze track though, because you're talking about shoegaze as a hit or miss genre, and this track is all.
Is it?
So
can I continue, please?
Oh my God! Okay,
I was not okay.
Taking forever with the criticism.
All right. I will say I'm iffy on performances. The production, for the most part, as I think I said in the last episode, is generally to me kind of flat throughout because it just stays at this even level for me the entire time. Occasionally have these little peaks. And then they just go back to that flat level.
Okay,
They go back to that flat.
You said that this album is just a level, no peaks. You said that Pure Heroine. I said that Pure Heroine is the same level the entire time.
No.
At the same tempo, same level. So same scarcity the entire time. This album has so much more variety.
Here's the thing about like Pure Heroine. I think it was actually pretty minimalistic, especially relative to Melodrama, and I like that. And I think that's
fine.
My problem with Melodrama is not so much the production as just like the lyrical direction it's taken.
Okay, that I do kind of want to discuss. I haven't really gone super in depth with the lyrics, but it definitely seems like this time I probably would put more blame on Lorde than Jack Antonoff, honestly. But it's just more of I think Lorde is.
I'll concede that it might be a step down lyrically.
I think the problem with Lorde, I will just get straight into like this is my personal bias. This is not the album that I wanted to make because Lorde is not the artist that I wanted Lorde to be like the next Bjork, and I don't think she's going to be that, and that's kind of where I'm having this bias. So
I'm a big Bjork guy.
I do think that for now these are my opinions, but I feel like this album might grow on me at a later date once I kind of forget about it a little bit, like kind of what happened with me and Art Angels, where that album really grew on me once I kind of took a break from it and kind of came back to it after a couple of months. So who knows? But my opinion right now is that this is just a step down from Pure Heroine because Pure Heroine was just such a special record, and also like a very influential pop album. Because with Pure Heroine, Lorde, she created a whole new lane for pop music, that just a completely new lane that all of a sudden the music industry was like, oh shit, there's this new lane. And once she got done with this the Pure Heroine cycle, all of a sudden there was a void that we have to fill this void now that she created. And so you have Halsey coming out, you have Alicia Cara, you have Daya, you have all these artists trying to make Lorde-esque music, but just were not on that level because Lorde was just she was working with.
And the Queen is back, baby.
She was working with really good producers. She was a really good writer, really good.
Name one producer she was working with on that album.
Shit, I don't know the name.
Say exactly. Okay.
She was I think it was a former pop punk band member that did the production.
Hang on, let me let me check the credits. I'm sorry. I'm trying to find.
I forget his name.
His name, it's Joe Little. Joe Little. There we go. But
am I right in saying that he was part of a pop? I think he was. I think I read that.
It seems like he was. Goodnight Nurse. Yeah, he was in a pop punk band. But anyways,
what band?
Shit, I just closed out. Hang on. Goodnight Nurse.
Who the hell are they?
I don't know.
They're from New Zealand. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Anyways, anyways, Pure Heroine was a really special album, and I don't think Melodrama is an album that it just doesn't stand out. It doesn't make me go, "Oh, this is a really unique pop record." It just seems like a very standard, mainstream kind of artsy pop record. It just seems like it's in this giant gray area where it's not quite artsy enough, and it's not quite bubbly. It's not quite bubbly and sugary enough. Where it's no emotion, nor is it no Hounds of Love. It's in this weird gray area.
No,
I think what you're saying is that it's
one of those records.
I think what you're saying is that it's the in color of female-led pop records in 2017.
Shit, you're right. Shit, that's a good comparison. Yep,
In Color's a good album, so I agree.
That's my take. All right, that's all I really have to say. I'll labor on this a bit more.
Actually, one more thing I have to say about is that we talk about Jack Antonoff, and I think that one thing, I think it's a give and take because going back to Greenlight, the intro, the verses are a little awkward.
Yeah.
But then you get this huge, triumphant, glorious melody that I don't think she would have come up with herself without him.
No.
Like, I think that he's the reason why the hooks on this album are so grand and awesome.
Yeah, I will say I'm not as negative on his production as I was on the first listen. I do think like some of his contributions are like he does bring some interesting stuff to the table, like the most interesting stuff he's ever done. But at the same time, I do think that overall as a producer, he's still got a lot of issues, and I do think that like I think he flattens. I think he just takes away some of the rawness, because it seems like at times that lyrically Lorde wants to like expose some of this rawness in her. From like being, becoming famous all of a sudden to her breakup, but like the production doesn't quite match that for me. It's like
I think that we talked last podcast about like his production being flat, and I think that's kind of inaccurate. And I think what I was trying to articulate was that it's not so much flat as it is very safe in the modern like pop spectrum, where it's just very, I think, not too emotionally dynamic.
Yeah, I think I have to agree with that. It just seems like I feel like there's interesting stuff in here. There could be interesting stuff, but I feel like anytime that there's something really interesting that comes in the fray for this album, he just sort of like it's like, okay, no, we're enough of that. Like, oh hey, there's this interesting idea you're developing, and just like, oh no, that's it. But I don't know. I think we've...
My takeaway is, Lord, honey, don't listen to... Honey, you're doing great. Don't listen to...
I think we're ready to...
It's perfect. Literally, it's... Besides for Rider in the Dark, which I don't like, it's literally a perfect album.
I think we're ready to crack this discussion open and get on with it.
All right. So our main topic tonight, which
Beautiful Thugger Girls by Young Thug.
Actually, hold on. Okay, wait. Okay, Jake.
No, we're not discussing this.
No, we're not discussing Beautiful. We're discussing the new Fleet Foxes album, Crack Up. Which actually, Jake, do you want to take this one, because I know you're the big? I would say you're the biggest Fleet Foxes stan here, so you might be the best person to possibly kind of build up this album a bit and what led to it, and then get into discussion. So, Jake, are you ready? Jake.
He's got his hands clasped. Drop the boy.
Wait, Jake, do you have your mic muted, maybe?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I was like talking the whole time. Sorry. Okay, hello everyone. Welcome. Crack Up is the third LP from Fleet Foxes, the indie folk darlings from Seattle, and this is coming after a 6-year gap following what is one of my favorite albums of all time, Helplessness Blues. I know that is kind of a divisive opinion, but anyway, in the time between that album and this album, Robin Pecknold attended Columbia University in New York, and then, to my knowledge, he started touring with Joanna Newsom with some new songs before he was actually able to graduate. And actually, I was listening to an interview with Robin like a week ago, and he was saying that not a lot of the album is really informed by his college experience. So I think that's kind of a irrelevant narrative that I've been seeing a lot. But anyway, I think that overall, just to kind of get this discussion started, I'd say there's definitely a newer, maybe more like refined kind of sound happening here on Crack Up as opposed to their previous efforts. I would say it's definitely less immediate than their last two projects, a bit more complex, a lot more, I don't know, like windy structurally than they've ever been before.
I'm gonna throw this out here like early in the discussion and say that I think the college aspect to the narrative behind this record has been very like too talked about relative to what I think is more something deeper in the album, which is like the political aspects of it, and it's very subtle. There's not times where there's only a few times where it's pretty obvious in the lyrics, but I think it's
I don't think it's ever really obvious. It wasn't until like last night when I was reading Genius, I was like, oh, this is a political album.
It was something that like I think is kind of evident in the production, which is a very vague statement, but I think that the way that I Am All That I Need starts up, where it's just like Robin just sounds like he does not want to do this. And it's just, I think this is a grasp, and I think I talked about this in the chat, this kind of dumb theory that I has, but I think that throughout the album, Robin makes parallels between like the old style, like throwback sound of Fleet Foxes, and like the Trumpian way where we want to make America great again and make everything back like it was in the 50s and 60s. And I think that's present, especially in Cassius, a little bit in I Am All That I Need, and a lot in I Should See Memphis.
Memphis.
And a long silence resonated.
Yeah.
Much like the album at times has this really nice. We're just recreating the album, having these really nice ambient moments to really put you guys into the experience. Also very similar to the new Twin Peaks episode, which we'll discuss.
I can
soon.
I can unleash the take. I can unleash the take whenever we're ready for it.
Let's do it.
I've been ready.
I feel like no one has outwardly said the truth that I'm about to put out into the world.
Let's set this up first. That AJ has been a long time not fan of Fleet Foxes, and very
could say that. Yes, that could
very
be said.
green text Fleet Foxes.
It is the official consideration of the Indieheads Podcast and all present members of the Indieheads Podcast that the Fleet Foxes 2017 album entitled Crack Up is quote unquote good. It's a good album, folks. It's a good album. The Fleet Foxes have made a good album. I think this is their best album by far, in my opinion, being the one that I enjoy.
Do we have that on record?
It's
Are we recording?
Just a second. One thing I really do like about this album, and like it's not a criticism I have of it at all, but it's an album of moments, and I almost wish that the track list was broken up even more. Like all of the songs that are have slashes, I guess, in the titles, whatever, they're divided in the titles. I wish they were broken up into like shorter segments of songs, just for I think like a little bit of. It really doesn't, but in some ways might make the album more like digestible and palatable. But like those, the first song is like that big 3-part thing that constantly builds and changes. And I mean, the big old drop in the first song is maybe my favorite moment on the whole album, where like the whole band just comes in on the strumming. And I really do think that first song is the peak and almost the centerpiece of the album, even though it is the opener. Like I think everything the album touches on is perfectly defined there, and I think the lyrics are the best on that song that they are on the entire album. But then it kind of just like rides that high for the most part. I think for the rest of the album, I do think it gets like a tiny bit lost towards the end. Not lost, but like it shows its length there with like the last 2 songs, I think.
I've said this in the chat, but honestly, I Should See Memphis is maybe my favorite track on the album.
Really?
I actually agree with everything.
I think Ollie agrees with me, and it's
I don't
very
dislike.
much.
I don't
It's
dislike
very much
that song at all. But
it's very much not the typical Fleet Foxes song. I would actually almost liken it in a way to some of the songs on Father John Misty's latest album, some of the more melancholy ones.
that's actually a really fair point.
The strings on it, this might be a bit of the strings remind me of like Johnny Greenwood's like things that he's composed for films and like his contribution.
No, I actually get a lot of a Moon-Shaped Pool vibes from a lot of different places in this album, just in like the production. There's a lot of like I can't remember the exact song. There's this one song on it. I don't remember which one it is, but there's like these really subtle keys kind of in the background, and it reminds me exactly of like True Love Waits. And then the same like you're saying with the strings on that I Should See Memphis.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I do think that what I guess sets this album apart from like the other Fleet Foxes albums, for me at least, is that the sort of energy and tone and instrumentation is consistent, and it's not these sort of like bombastic shifts in any way or big, like, in your face, like, oh, this is folk music instrumentation. It comes in, starts what it's doing in that first track, like, sets you up perfectly, I think. And then it just, like, keeps going with the same stuff, I think.
Yeah, because, like, the sonically, it's not a lot different from, what they've been doing, but I think the way
not at all. And that's the thing too. I was like, why do I like this? Like, this is what the band sounds like, and I've never been a fan of what the band sounds like, but I think everything here is working more in tandem than it has before, and it is a lot like Moon-Shaped Pool, actually, now that I had never kind of thought of that myself, but it's where it's sort of like they're doing what they've done before, but in a way that feels like more matured, more refined, more nuanced. Everything is purposeful. Everything is being done to accomplish something. Everything is being done for the same reason, and it feels very much like a holistic vision that everything is doing what they intended to, and there's no moments of just sort of, we're gonna, like, have fun with it and just kind of, like, put something out there just to put it out there. I can't quite determine what the sort of purposefulness of the album was. I think the political side of it is something I haven't really explored into that much, but the personal side, I think, is really again the best I think Fleet Foxes have been. Like, what was it, Myth I Made You Measure Up To is, like, my favorite line on the whole album, that whole moment with what's the, like, so it's true I've gone too far to find you, the thumbprint scar, whatever line, and then, like, was it Myth I Made You Measure Up To? The guitars are coming in, it's like bouncing, marching, very very good. That first song, like, I mean, I really love that song.
Yeah, that's probably one of my favorite, like, in their discography at this point, just having sat with it for a little while.
It's definitely oh, you can go.
I was just going to add on to kind of what AJ was saying about how holistic the album is, and I don't know, if I had to, like, criticize it, which I really, really love this album, so I don't, that's not really necessary, but, like, it's so holistic and so, it's, like, really layered and dense, and it can be almost kind of burdensome, just in the sense of, like, if you remove any tracks individually, I think the album loses a fair bit of, like, I think they put a lot into pacing.
Yeah, and that's what I meant by, like, I think it would have been cool to see this album broken up as, like, I think I did like the math during one listen, and, like, if it was like a 16 or 17 track album, I think it would have seemed, because it's very enveloping, right? It kind of creates the atmosphere that you're going to be in for, like, the next hour, and it's like, yo, you're here. And if it was broken out a little bit more, like, song wise, because when the songs start to, like, shift and change as they do so frequently, having, like, even just the, like, titles of a different song starting up would be like, okay, you know where you, like, you don't have to change anything format wise or, like, structure wise about the album, just literally
the song
kind of, like, break the moments out into their own songs. I think would have been really cool to kind of see. Like, I like albums that do that. I can't think of any. I guess, like, Worry, sort of, I would draw a parallel to, like, the back half of Worry, where, like, that all could have been one song or, like, 3 or 4 songs really that just, like, kept going, but they're all broken out into, like, that big medley essentially. And I think it would have been cool to see Crack Up like that.
But I was, like, half joking when I mentioned, like, the Glow Part 2 that way, but, like, kind of seriously, just, like, 20 separate 1 minute 30-second ideas kind of.
I think that's why I like the transition between Cassius and Naiads Cassidy's so much. I think I'm pronouncing it right. But, like, I know that people on the subreddit complained a lot about how this was not a digestible album and this was, like, very, I don't know, not easy to dig into, but I do not mind that at all, because I think that this is one of the, like, I think it's very much you need to respect it in it.
Yeah, and just going back to what AJ was saying about, like, how there's a lot of ideas in kind of what are whole songs. When I was they released, like, a preview, like, snippet compilation of the album, like, a month ago, or, like, a month before it came out. And it was just, like, 30-second snippets from each song. And I remember listening to it, and it would change from, like, really fast to really quiet, like, very abruptly. And when I was listening to the snippets, I was like, oh, it's just these abrupt shifts are just happening because it's a snippet compilation. But the album's like actually like that. It really, the dynamics changed that fast.
Yeah, actually, that's kind of my thing. When I first heard Third of May, I didn't really know what to think of it, and like it has that really abrupt start. So I thought, oh, there's going to be a direct transition to this. That's going to be really cool to hear.
Well, I think the transition to that.
To go.
Well, I was just like, when 3rd of May came out, is like the first millisecond that you hit play, it like punches you in the face.
Yeah.
And I think there's like a 5 or 6 second silence in between like Kept Woman and 3rd of May, and it's like doesn't count as a transition, but I think that it's kind of necessary. And actually, that was kind of going back to what I was going to say a while ago, and I was talking about the pacing. Is that to me, there are some tracks that can maybe teeter on the boring side a bit. Like I guess I would say Kept Woman and I Should See Memphis, which are fine songs. I enjoy them. They're like maybe a little slow, but it's almost kind of necessary to have that, you know, coming off of the crux of like 3rd of May and Fool's Errand, respectively, just because like you almost need that, like a reflection or that breathing room or something.
Yeah, for the most part, this is an album that gets pacing really right, which is something that, at least for me, a lot of albums recently have struggled with, just across all genres, across the board. Pacing is a big thing that for me like is very apparent when listening to an album and can like essentially ruin an experience. Like I basically listen to most music like only as albums. That's sort of how I listen to music, and so like if the pacing's off, I will bounce from a project and it won't really resonate with me, or will take a lot of extra work. But Crack Up really gets pacing right as far as like giving you breathing room, backing off, getting a little quiet, all that kind of stuff works really well.
I think that's why this album like struck me so much after repeat listens, and why it's already like one of my favorites of the year so far, is because like you can't enjoy this album in individual songs as much as you can enjoy it in a full album format.
Exactly. Yeah,
and like that's kind of I feel like that's a contrived thing to say in itself, but it rings true more for this album than anything else I've heard this year.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely, it all feels like that. It could be like, you know, that one album. I think having it come out on like the NPR stream the first time was nice, where it was just like, hey, press play and here's like a 55-minute album, and I was like, oh, this is cool. It's enveloping and encompassing. It's very neat and well put together.
Yeah, my opinions on it. I'm also a pretty big Fleet Foxes head. And I'll just come out and say this is probably my least favorite project from them, or at least album-length project to date.
That's fair.
But it's also probably my album of the year. So their literal worst is better than your fave's literal best.
That remains to be seen.
I can get behind that too. Yeah, I was gonna say I definitely wouldn't rank this above Helplessness Blues, but that's because it hasn't been out long enough. Like I need to.
Oh, I would. I'll do it.
A lot longer.
I'll do it.
This album is gonna take. It's very much like a Moonshaped Pool, actually, where it's kind of these slow burning songs that don't really punch you. I mean, you
don't realize how much you like it until you like look back.
Yeah, the 3rd of May, the first time I listened to it, I did not know what to make of. The
cover art is actually also eerily similar to a Moonshaped Pools in some ways. This is a strange take that we're going to need to simmer on for some time, because I haven't.
Robin Petzel made a playlist of like influences going into the album and on Spotify, and I think like Daydreaming by a Moonshaped Pool is.
Well, it's well documented that he's a huge Radiohead head. I mean, like he got like he was active on that Radiohead like forum for years.
At ease. Yeah.
Oh yeah, like I'm looking at this playlist and it's all like really old jazz and like sort of R&B stuff, and then it's just there's Daydreaming by Radiohead.
Yeah, he's a big head. So yeah, I think this album's gonna take a long time to grow to like really appreciate. I still like don't even think I've cracked the puzzle. I haven't cracked it up.
You haven't cracked it up.
Yeah,
I haven't cracked.
It's a slow process.
But like the way every song starts, like 1 minute, it's kind of slow. It's like, what's going on here? Then like about 1 or 2 minutes in, it picks up. Like, what's that one song? On Another Ocean. That's a perfect example.
That's one of my favorites.
For like 1 or 2 minutes, you're like, you're just like stroking your chin, and then it finally reveals itself. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think.
Do we mention how much or how good the transitions are on this album? Like, that's the one thing.
I think that's like almost all we've talked about. Actually, is
that's
how,
true. Well,
how cohesive it is. Yeah.
Just like the literal, like 5-10 second outros to a lot of the songs, or like. I'm trying to think. I can't remember which one. I think it's.
I think that's one of my weak parts for me. The outros are kind of weird.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're just so different, and a lot of them sound really cool, and I kind of wish they like expanded on them, but I don't know.
I think that, yeah, even on the tracks where they don't blend directly into the next track, they almost either resolve or don't resolve the like kind of through line in a way that makes the next track feel essential to That's why, like, I don't like the end of Nads Cassidy's is not like a perfect blend into Kept Woman, but it makes me like
no that's one of the best transitions. Oh, you fool, that's one of the best.
Well, I mean, like, it's right after Cassius into Nads Cassidy's, which is my favorite transition.
Yeah, like, that's the number one. But then I think Kept Woman, the way it starts, though, is
the transitions between the first 5 are just almost all flawless.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think I'm a little disappointed that Kept Woman doesn't go directly into Third of Me. I think that would have been cool to hear.
Oh, just another quick. Oh, sorry.
Oh, that's pretty much all I was gonna say.
I was just gonna say quickly, one of the things that I noticed about this album is how much Robin Pecknold does the harmonized vocals himself, as opposed to like the rest of Fleet Foxes, like how they did it live. And I thought that was kind of like, it's fine, but I didn't realize how much I'd actually miss like Josh Tillman's harmonized vocal presence on a lot of these songs. Like, it's just Robin on top of Robin instead of the kind of like.
I think that kind of emphasizes like how like the band isn't quite back together yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that also speaks to like what a personal record it was for Robin.
It does almost feel. I mean, they're all basically solo albums by Robin, but this one even more so.
Yeah, because I think he toured with the majority of these songs with the Joanna Newsom thing. So, and from what I can tell, they, at least structurally and lyrically are pretty much the same. It's mostly a Robin Pecknold effort. But
he said he wrote most of these songs in about 2013. So.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. So, I'm trying to think of other things to say. I haven't said much about it. Like, it's weird because like it is probably my album of the year, but I don't really have the words yet.
Right.
I definitely get the feel, and I could be wrong about this, but I think that like the lyrics and the basic melodies were probably written back in 2013, but it's very clear to me that like the actual soundscapes and just all the production went into it. There was a lot of time taken and thought and intent, and I appreciate. You can go.
I was just gonna say a real quick element that we haven't mentioned yet is Skylar Shellset, who's like he's like the only other member of Fleet Foxes who's like he started it with Robin basically. He is credited as one of the producers on this album, which is interesting because he's been touring with Beach House for the last 5 or 6 years. Like as soon as Helpless as Blues ended, he pretty much joined Beach House, and I think a lot of the production credit should kind of go somewhat in his direction, especially when you listen to the songs that Robin played live and kind of how they turned up in the studio. There's definitely a lot more, I guess, like ambience or just something new that hasn't really been on a Fleet Foxes project before that I think can be
this one's
thrown
definitely
in that direction.
This album is like Age's talking about. This is a Fleet Foxes album. It's not to me at all.
Well,
like, it does not feel like it doesn't feel like helping it. It does not feel like the self-titled album at all.
It has a lot. It has a lot less of the like. I think why I've always gravitated away from Fleet Foxes is like the faux folk sort of present in their music, and I get that it's not like totally faux. A lot of it is genuine, but like the sort of, I think like what bugged me about their music is that like there were more interesting kind of things happening with that same sort of instrumentation, and so on Crack Up,
I'm the exact.
Well, obviously you're the exact opposite. We've had
That's
the
true. We've had this
for a long time,
conversation,
and so the toned downness of Crack Up, I think, is why I am able to get into it more, is that it's not a traditional Fleet. I haven't seen a lot of people like Fleet Foxes fans saying that like, oh, this isn't a real Fleet Foxes album,
It's not a real Fleet Foxes album. It definitely feels like a bigger divergent than Helplessness Blues did.
Yeah, it's their biggest. Yeah,
which makes sense because it's been 6 years.
So
I mean, obviously, as a person and as an artist, and just his musical taste has changed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, like, I'm not surprised by that at all. I'm just saying that. It hasn't quite hit yet for me.
Yeah, and now that I think about it, I could actually kind of see, like, the shift between their self-titled and Helplessness Blues, and their shift between Helplessness Blues and this album are kind of in the same vein. Like, I feel like with Helplessness Blues, they moved in, a little more mature direction lyrically and sonically, and they became less of that kind of like faux folk 27 or 2000s like stereotypical folk renaissance, and they just have been progressively moving further and further from that with each album.
Definitely. Mm-hmm. Actually, the one thing I do want to say is that this album is also like, it feels like a Swans album, except instead of getting progressively more abrasive, it just gets more beautiful.
I'm on board with that.
And also, like, I think I said that part in 3rd of May, when the guitars come in about like 3 minutes in, the electric guitars. That sounds like a Swan song if they just did that for like 10 minutes.
Oh yeah. I remember you telling me about that.
Yeah.
That is. So. Yeah, Crack Up album of the year. That's all you really need to know.
Well, we're not going to go that far.
Hang on.
I'm gonna also go that far. Actually,
I did not tell you guys this, but I got Mad Villain on vinyl the other day, and this is the bag that it came in. It's a Crack Up bag.
Your bag up.
I got a bag up, but
capitalism is extremely good.
I don't really have anything to say. I like this. I mean, I'm not the reason I passed it off to Jake was like, I don't know shit about Fleet Foxes other than I like this album. It is nice at times. I like the dynamics. Good. It's really interesting. I listened to the self-titled the other day, and I like that too. So I'm excited to get into Fleet Foxes. So good. I actually have it because this is probably going to be in our top 10 this year. So
most certainly,
betcha.
Of course, but
it's crazy. It's crazy how we are entering July and there's no even close to consensus.
Yeah, there's not a
really. It's been a week here. There's no two ways around it.
I mean, like,
I'd agree with that.
Not for me, but my there haven't been any 2016 was like the big album of the year contender at one after the other after the other, but not much in terms of discovery and new sounds to explore outside of a few notable releases, where this year has been much more hey, there's cool little stuff happening in all sorts of these genre bubbles all over the place, and take some time and just dig into these different sounds that are happening, and the big releases are going to come and go, whatever. I think this is one of the first big releases. I'm trying to think of the big releases we've had this year, this.
I hate saying that A Crow Looked at Me is my album of the year, but it is just in terms of sheer, I kind of feel disingenuous.
That might be the closest thing we have to a consensus album of the year, I would say.
That or maybe Damn, but not really.
Well, the thing with Damn is that Damn is I think Damn is a great album, but when you compare it, but. There's always Good Kid, Mad City, and To Pimp a Butterfly. Well, so
exactly.
While it's a great album, it's lesser in Kendrick's discography, which kind of brings it down a little bit. Although I do really love Damn, and I would rank it as even as Good Kid, Mad City, but that's my hot take. I think so. I really
Damn
like
is definitely the album I've listened to the most this year, but I wouldn't say it's my favorite.
I mean, I think to Pimp a Butterfly is my favorite, but Damn, I think people are. I think a couple of years down the line, I think you're going to see a lot more appreciation for Damn. once there's some more Kendrick albums comes out, because I feel like
I agree.
I feel like some people haven't given it the fair shake it deserves. In that, like, I think we'll see. I think it's an album that, like, I feel like it could be the Amnesiac kind of Kendrick's discography.
I'm gonna disagree.
I think
it's got some of his best songs
maybe that's
ever, but also his like worst songs.
Maybe
ever.
not the best.
The whole
maybe not the best comparison, but basically it's an album that, like, a couple years down the line, once there's some more Kendrick albums comes out, there's gonna be a bit more appreciation for it. Like, oh, we missed this. Okay.
The whole second album thing, like, really just fucking messed with the reception of this album in an awful way, because it was like, like, dig into all of these inherent hints on the album that, like, there's another album coming, and that was all
there were no hints whatsoever. People made up hints.
Yeah,
but like that dominated the discussion of the album. I mean, like, there were official, like, published reviews that came out within like 24 hours of that are just like very clear signs that, like, the second Kendrick album is coming soon, and I think that hurt the reception of this album.
Yeah.
I haven't listened.
I feel like I've been a part of like 10 of these. Oh, there's a secret second album coming out after, and none of them have ever turned out to be true.
Right. I haven't listened to Damn in a really long time. I was thinking about listening to it today after I finished Big Fish Theory again. But, like, yeah, I mean, I really like a handful of songs on Damn, but then the other ones were, as my first impressions proved, to be pretty much almost instantly forgettable. And so I definitely am not as hot on Damn as it seems some of you guys are. Like, it's definitely nowhere near my top 10 right now. And
it's in mine.
It'll keep going down, I think, as more albums come out. But I wouldn't go as far as to say it's like a bad album or anything.
I'm gonna go out there. I'm gonna say hip hop this year, kind of lackluster. Pop this year, kind of lackluster.
I mean, we all know the hip hop album of the year is "Common as Light and Love" or "Red Valleys of Blood" by Sun Kill Moon. It is the best rap album I've heard in a long time.
And indie rock this year, I'll take it.
Yeah, we're having a great year for emo boys, so we're thriving.
Oh yeah.
Are we really though? There's been like 2 good albums, or three good albums.
We got Oso. We got Remo Drive. We got some ones that AJ likes that I think are pretty good.
Yeah, I haven't listened to
Sorority Noise.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I haven't delved
Sorority
into
Noise, Remo Drive, and
Sorority Noise, Free Throw.
We got Turnover on the way.
Turnover on the way, baby.
Roswell
Kid just put out a new album.
Roswell Kid is not emo.
Yeah, they kind of are. They're emo. No, they're emo adjacent.
But that does make them emo.
Turnover is barely emo. Turnover is like, I make dream pop and I'm not having sex.
Turnover is barely music, actually.
That's fair.
Okay, I think we've all said what we need to say.
Yeah.
Any final nuts to crack about Crack Up?
We'll have to do another episode in a year.
My pants.
I think, to really get into it.
Yeah. All right. I think that'll about do it for the podcast. We will see you guys whenever our next podcast is. My fingers are crossed.
July 17th.
Well, I mean, it depends how good the internet is at our Airbnb. Which let me remind you guys once again: myself, AJ, Jake, Will, Josiah for a day, maybe. Are
yep.
you? Let me check the pitch. Check. Alex, Jeremiah, and Lily, and also myself. And wait, I'm in the wrong chat. Yeah, Lily, myself. We will all be at Pitchfork Music Festival 2017. We have some great content planned. We'll actually have content this year, not just like one podcast that comes out like 4 or 5 months after the festival ends.
We tried to make content last year, but we just did a really bad job.
Yeah, we're better now. All right.
We're better now.
Our producers are on the horn.
All right, we're looking at 2016 Indieheads Podcast, and they're looking at us, and they're asking like, "Who are you?" And we're like, "I'm you, but stronger." So
with more content.
Exactly. But we'll have some stuff out. Yeah, I'm excited for the fest, and yeah, we'll be there. We'll have some content. I actually have a phone that has like 128 gigabytes, so I actually can vlog and record a podcast and not have to take like 4 or 5 months to get the footage because Alex's phone was a piece of shit. I love you, Alex, but it's not your fault. Trust me. It was just like it's Apple's a terrible company.
Capitalism isn't good.
Capitalism actually bad.
Apple's a terrible company, as I say when recording this episode on an Apple product. So, hey. So yeah, we will see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.